Now, let's get back to Kerbal. So what I was doing to kind of introduce people into Kerbal is doing the, oh geez, what is this? Stackless and Obsure tier 369 month resub. Fried EJ brain. Yeah, you don't want to eat that. Please don't. I need it. Stackless 83 month resub. Loving this new wave of KSP players. Absolutely. Yep. You ever get excited? You excited to get up at the butt crack of dawn to watch New Glenn on the 17th? Ethereal, I might not be here. No guarantees on being able to cover it because I'm actually hosting the AIAA Design Build and Fly event this coming weekend in Kansas. I'm bringing my mobile streaming setup with me, so if I have time, we will stream it. But I'm going to be streaming it from some weird place in Kansas, like an Airbnb in Kansas or something. You think when the ISS gets privatized, they will keep it the way it's currently configured? If they decide to do that, Miller, yeah. Yeah. Do you think NASA will get some decent appropriations in the future? I do. I think Artemis 2 is something that everybody can get behind and people are into it, so. I think it's my first stream in here. I imagine either Astro Canuck or Mahoodles recommended you. Yeah, I know. Astro Canuck and Mahoodles are good people. Myth, yeah. They're good people. Good STEM communicators. Mahoodles does more of the science stuff, and Canuck kind of does the engineering stuff too. They're good people. We like them here. So, I was kind of giving everybody kind of an intro into what KSP is. So, I just launched my Space Shuttle up here to kind of show people what this game is all about. So, I was trying to do an inclination match burn, but yeah, don't worry about it. You know what? Let's just finish the shuttle mission. Let's bring the shuttle back down and I'll show you guys what it's about. So, Kerbal is a game where you design and build rockets, okay? You design whatever you want and you can fly it up into space. Now, notice that I built a space shuttle. There's no space shuttle in the game. There's just parts. So you have to kit bash the parts together and make whatever you want. What's on the cards for today? Intro to KSP. And I figured, Urban, just like a video game, same like a video game would give you the most powerful thing in the game right at the beginning and you use it as a tutorial mission. I figured launching the shuttle would be a good idea. So as kind of the tutorial. So like I said, I built my space shuttle and we launched it up into space and now I'm going to bring it back down. I was saying you really can't take a left-hand turn to the space station because we're going too fast in one direction. I was trying to show people why docking to a space station with a differential inclination is a bad idea, but maybe we'll save that for later. Be honest, you just wanted to show off the shuttle. You say that like it's a bad thing. Hey, Eliana. Made it the right time, was gardening. Right on. If my junk jet engine works, could the RC plane people do something with it, maybe? I was doing it out of curiosity, wondering if it could be used for something. I don't know. Maybe. So, when you're up on orbit, guys, you don't need a big rocket engine to move around. You need smaller stuff, smaller rocket engines. You probably saw the smaller stuff on the on Orion doing the outbound trajectory and inbound trajectory correction burns. So, like the space shuttle, just like Orion has a bunch of little tiny thrusters on it to kind of get that 6 degrees of freedom, right? So, let me just make sure I'm in a decent orbit here. I'm going to shore up the orbit here just a little bit. So we're going to bring the shuttle back down now.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Kind of want to give people just a overview of how this all works. You excited? Yeah, all right, I already read that. All right, so let's jump in. How did you make the tiles survive heat re-entry? So Laz, think about it like this. Do you know what chainmail is? Like the medieval armor chainmail?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Is one strip of chainmail useful? No. No, not useful at all. Chainmail only works when it's all together. That's how I did it with the panels, dude. I have my panels working together. My panels are essentially acting as a giant heat sink, which is what the tiles do on the Space Shuttle. They're a gigantic heat sink. The Space Shuttle had a reusable thermal protection system. And that reusable thermal protection system is basically just absorbs all the heat. It tanks all the heat. Same with Starship. Starship is the same way. Would it take too much fuel to slow down a capsule? So Crow, what I'm going to do after we get the shuttle back down is I'm going to go grab my Orion capsule. I have something that's kind of like Orion. It's kind of my own design. I call it the Taurus capsule because that's another constellation. So I was like, okay, it's named after Orion, after the Orion constellation. We'll call it Taurus because, yeah, bird or something. Okay, I'm shoring us up for a re-entry. All right, we're good. Now, so Kerbal, you go up, you fly around in space, you got to get up into orbit, and then you got to, well, depending on what you're doing, if my space shuttle, I got to bring my shuttle back to the runway over there, right? So what I'm going to do is dial in a deorbit burn here. We're going to bring this sucker back down. $60 meters a second burn. Reorient the vehicle. How was the first decent sleep in a couple weeks? Pretty good, man. Yeah, I slept in today on purpose. I usually don't sleep in. Are there any satellites in real life that orbit west to east? So, Geraldo, you're talking about a retrograde orbit. Retrograde orbit is when you're rotating in the opposite direction of the spin of the celestial body that you're around. Yeah, there is. But the thing is, if you try to fly into a retrograde orbit, right? You try to fly into a retrograde orbit, you actually need more fuel to get into a same orbit that's going in the opposite direction because you have to counteract the spin of the Earth. Hey, Sanji. What's going on? I'll think about it, Chief. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm dialing in a deorbit burn here. We're going to do the deorbit burn. I'm going to try to bring this thing back to the runway. I haven't done this in a little bit. Okay, we are go for deorbit burn. No, we're not going to the station. What made you want a wildfire lift versus Benpack? Slackster, honestly, the reason why I originally said I wanted it is because if I'm one man up in the shop by myself, a 4-post lift is a lot safer, so I don't make live stream fails for the wrong reason. Does that make sense? What's the right reason? When you do something funny and hilarious and people go, "Oh, that guy's cool." I don't need to get crushed by a car on stream. A 4-post lift is probably better for that. Yeah. Do 4-post lifts take up a little bit more room? Sure. But yeah. Now that you're re-entering with the shuttle, remember you were going to talk about Columbia after the Orion re-entry. Yes. Bleaks, what was the question? What was the original question that somebody asked? I totally forget. I know somebody asked about it, and I said, hell no, I'm not talking about that right now. All right, so we're going to go, just like Orion did the other day, we're going to line up for entry interface here. Wrong reasons are Darwin Award winners. Yes, exactly. Okay, we're coming up on entry interface here. Okay, here we go. We're at EI. Can Orion land safe with a single fouled chute? One of the chutes is redundant. It can land on two. Four-post lifts are for oil changes and alignments. Two-post lifts give you the room you need to work. Yeah, I know. Wildfires, though, can... Yeah, you can do... So, with a wildfire lift, SCJ, like, you have the two tracks, like, where the cars go, and then there's actually a lift device in the center, and you can use that to lift the car up. So the wildfire lifts are like a two-post four-arm lift that's on top of a four-post lift. It's good for storing cars. They're good, you know, if you want to do wheel work, you can do wheel work. It's easy. All right, so I'm bringing up my speed brake. Let's ensure actuation on the speed brake. Speed brake is working. Body flap. This is for trimming out the re-entry here. And we're gonna bring endurance home. It's one of my orbiters. So once again, this is just a high-level overview of what Kerbal does. I'll get something a little bit. We'll use something a little bit easier here in a moment. What would be the difference in impact speed with two chutes? It'd be a little faster, but survivable. Any mods you're using or recommend? I have, here, Evol. I have KSP1 mods. There we go. That's what I use. I know what you're talking about. I will stick to my 22,000 pound two post here at the shop. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It would be... Dude, honestly, the reason... I like two post lifts for what it's worth. The reason why I'm really not doing that... Come on, baby. The reason why I really don't want to do that
Discovery,
is
just
because I'm up here in my shop alone. I know how to work a two post lift. I know about clicking the locks into position, etc., etc. But if I'm doing work by myself, I think it's a... Okay, we have peak heating there. Here we go. Slab with the freaking raid, dude. Oh, man. You guys are just in time to see the shuttle come back in. Uo's Lab, another STEM streamer over on Twitch, does unhinged science experiments in his Temu shed. That's so good, dude. So once again, this is like kind of represents the higher end of what you can do with KSP. If we want to learn more basic stuff, I'll show you guys in a moment. We're gonna bring this sucker back down. So in Kerbal, you have to go through re-entry. You need somewhat of a thermal protection system. The re-entry in stock KSP, though, is a little bit on the forgiving side. Just because this is
Discovery,
it's a video game after all. I always enjoyed this game. Too bad they didn't... Yeah, no, it sucks. They never made a sequel. One-shot bridge crane. Oh, I don't know. See, we're gonna fall back down because I shot us retrograde here. We deorbited a little bit, and now we're using the atmosphere to slow down, which is what the Space Shuttle did. You can turn up the... Creation, are you telling me about the difficulty settings for Kerbal? Is that what's going on right now? I feel like Ron Swanson in the hardware store. Hey, how can I help you? No. Okay, first S turn. No. Creation, that's not what he meant. I just felt like making a joke. Guys, yeah, you can change the difficulty settings in Kerbal. He's right. Still funny though. So when I was describing this during the Artemis 2 stream, how the shuttle could surf plasma. You could surf the re-entry heating. That's why the shuttle has its big wings, because it can do this. The shuttle would do S turns throughout its re-entry to change its trajectory. It can steer. So if you look, my entry trajectory was lined up right at the Space Center, but now it's going southbound because I'm turning. I have a question. How do you know where to start re-entry? Oh, weird, Matt. It depends on the vehicle, dude. If you just want to play Kerbal, I mean, you could do some math if you want to, but just test it. Testing it usually works. Are we not going to overshoot? Of course we're going to overshoot. I always overshoot. Just like the real shuttle. The real shuttle did that too. The whole idea is to stall above the landing site with the shuttle or with Starship. So you belly flop, or in the case of the shuttle, you belly flop with Starship so you could go right back down to the tower. Or in the case of Starship, you belly flop back down to the tower, or in the case of the shuttle, you fall with style. Starship belly flops and does the flip and burn. The shuttle just falls back down and the runway's in the right spot. What is this?
Now that things have calmed down a bit, just want to personally thank you for the A2 coverage. Felt like a culmination of your Twitch career so far. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Bremo. Let's keep up the mission of making everyone a certified space nut.
That's the idea. That's the idea, Hip. That's always been my plan. You know that. Alright, so we're pulling the speed brake and came in a little bit hot, but that's okay. Now, I'll tell you guys, the shuttle didn't get this hefty. But I also don't really feel like missing the landing site either. So let's just, okay. Do a barrel roll! That's not good because that added 53 years for that little maneuver. I haven't done this in a while. Give me a break. Yeah, I started turning a little too much. I came in a little too hot. And I stalled it. So you see what's going on here? Even for somebody that has a lot of hours in KSP, it's still a difficult game to play. Oh, that would help if I had full pitch control. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to glide this sucker back. Blame the distraction when you hit orbit. All good. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I can blame chat. That's what streamers do, right? I'll try it. There's another runway out here in the game. I haven't practiced landing on it at all because I don't take into account in my mission profile screwing up the re-entry. It's easier to just not screw it up. Yeah, Jeb's enjoying it. Yeah, I'll land at the island runway. It's fine. I'll bring that speed brake up there. Anyway, Yeah, so that's kind of a high-level overview. You launch up, you can go up into space, you come back down. Now, there's planets in KSP. There's a moon, just like we have a moon, but there's also other planets that you can go to. And the thing is, you got to know how real spacecraft fly to be able to get to them. That's what makes Kerbal such a good teacher, because you can do that. Yeah, the Earth-like planet, Kerbin, actually has 2 moons. It has a captured comet called Minmus. Yeah, I actually carried too much speed, which is kind of funny considering the shuttle is a brick. And I engineered my shuttle to fly like trash. It's actually pretty easy to get stuff to fly in KSP. But yeah, I engineered the shuttle to... My shuttle does not fly very well. We're gonna fall out of the sky here in a second if we're not careful. I'm not even sure I have enough to get to that runway. I might just ditch. Could you do a real history campaign in KSP? No. No, I don't want to do that. I don't know if we're going to have enough runway here, guys. So, Sully it, that might be the right idea, but here we go. Bring the gear down. Put the brakes on. Speed brake. If you tried to do this with a real shuttle, you'd wind up in the grass over there. Bring the speed brake up. Oh. Yeah, if we had stayed floating for any longer, we would have stalled and crashed. Oh, that was real close. I play with visual mods, but for the most part, no. I have visual mods and I have a couple of flags, but, all right, please stop. Please stop before my heart rate bounces up through the roof. All right, so we diverted to the island runway. I'll be honest with you, that instability that we encountered, if we came in too much with the real shuttle, would have ripped it to pieces. But it's Kerbal, a little bit more forgiving. So that's the idea with Kerbal. It's a game where you design and build rockets. You got to get the rockets to fly. You got to send them up into space. You got to bring them back down. It's a really, really fun game. That's what's left of my launch pad after we took off. You can just recover those parts. Yeah. So, yeah, that's the high-level overview. Now, if you've bought Kerbal, you want to know how to play it, let me switch saves and I'll show you how to do this. All right, let me go into my engineering save. Do you have an ICBM? No. Please show a tutorial. I haven't made it into space. Sure. Like I said, that was the high-level overview to intro, just in case anybody doesn't know what this game is. Let's go into here, and I will show you. This is my screw-around save where we test and design stuff. I have everything in here from cranes to launch pads. My shuttle's loaded in here. I have all kinds of stuff. So, you guys want simple. Let me show you simple. Okay. Actually, let's go. I like designing in the SPH, guys. So in Kerbal, you have kind of two facilities. You have a VAB, a vehicle assembly building. You can build rockets in there, or you can build stuff in the spaceplane hangar, the SPH. Okay. Show that big ship. Drummer, no. Yeah. Let's keep it simple, okay? Oh, nice article. So, in Kerbal, you can make airplanes if you want and fly around. There's an entire planet to explore. There's all kinds of cool stuff out there. I'm not going to say where. You can go find Easter eggs around Kerbin. Or you can build rockets. So, how I wanted to set this up is a little bit of like a help desk thing. So, like what DOS used to do back in the day. Let's find one of my more basic vehicles and we'll go from there. So I know there's some people that aren't a fan of Ares 1, but also. So you have all kinds of rocket engines in Kerbal. You have all kinds of stuff that does a bunch of different things. So where do you start? Actually, you know what? We can get even simpler than this. This would be a good idea. It'd probably be better to start small in case there's newer players out there. Now, the name of the game with Kerbal is that, I know I just showed my space shuttle, but the idea here is that you don't want to make something complicated to start if you're just starting out. You don't want to make anything too crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up this guy. Let's keep this nice and simple. I have Gemstone 4. That's basically kind of like an Ares 1 analog in this game, right? But this is the simplest rocket that I have. This is my Imahara rocket. It's very, very, very simple. It's not a complicated piece of equipment. This is a very, very straight up two-stage vehicle. This is somewhat analogous to Falcon 1, guys. If you're a space nut out there, it is a very, very simple rocket. It's just designed to push a small payload up there and that's it. So let me go into my sub-assemblies. Maybe I have like a small satellite or something in here. Tidris? No. That's a tracking data and relay satellite. That's way too big. All right, so you know what? Just for example, as an example, I'm going to get something that's tiny. Let's do this payload. This payload is just a fuel tank. I'm going to shut it off and I'm going to use it as ballast. All right. So, a little bit of a breakdown on Imahara. Imahara is what's called a two-stage vehicle. Now, what does that mean? That means I have one stage here to get me up in the air, and then I have a second stage on top to go fast. Rockets are... That's one of my poopa-doopa diagrams. Rockets have stages, so let's take a look at a Saturn V, for instance. Give me 1 second. All right. This is an old diagram of Saturn V. It looks like someone updated it with some stuff here, but okay. The name of the game to get something into orbit is to go up and then go sideways. All right. You don't need to go straight up and then sideways. That's not really an efficient way of doing it. You want to fly on what's called the parabolic arc. First stages are designed to get you up there. Second stages are designed to accelerate you to the orbital velocity that you need. Okay. You play this game a lot. Yes, Fork, I do. Okay. Third stages, in the case of the Saturn V, the third stage is the get to the moon part. Okay. So I have a two-stage rocket. The Saturn V is an example of a three-stage vehicle. SLS is kind of a three-stage vehicle as well. You have the boosters, then the core stage, and then the ICPS upper stage, right? Same idea, just needs a little bit of a better upper stage, and we'll see if that happens. Now, on top of that, on top of your stages is usually a payload. Payload is, well, whatever you're carrying up into space. Payloads are usually encapsulated inside of some type of aerodynamic shell. That aerodynamic shell is called a fairing. So if we look at Falcon 9, for instance, do I have a picture of a Falcon 9 cargo? I think it's all Dragon in here. There is a payload fairing. The payload fairing is an aerodynamic shell that protects the payload on the way up. Okay? Falcon 9, like SpaceX's workhorse rocket, is a two-stage vehicle. You have a first stage and you have a second stage. Falcon 9's first stage famously does come back down and land. One of only 2 rockets in the world that can do that. The other one is New Glenn, which is launching later this week, which is pretty cool. So, for my payload for this vehicle, I don't have a satellite or anything. It's just a fuel tank. It's 560 kilos. And we're going to push this thing up into space here. So, let's fly the Imahara rocket. So you guys want to know how to get into space. There's a really, really, really simple way of doing this. It works pretty much with any rocket. Let's go over here. There's kind of not a convergent flight trajectory, but for the most part, a convergent flight trajectory here. Yeah, Maverick, I have landable boosters. I land them by hand. No, it's not easy. Sometimes it crashes. I'm not a computer. All right. So now, the cool thing is, just in case anybody, interesting discovery, we discovered a rock arch on the moon. Oh, that's neat. I don't know when we did that. Actually, I do, but let's go to, that's Kerbal. Here we go. Kerbalpedia. Space travel. Basics. Everybody has this. You have Kerbalpedia. If you click on the book over here, it'll teach you. So, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get into orbit, all right? An orbit is sometimes described as falling and missing the ground. It's, for the most part, it's when you have enough velocity to fall around the celestial body. So you stay up there, unless acted upon by an outside force. A good thing to understand is that when you're up in space, physics is at its purest because you're in microgravity. Equal and opposite reactions, acted upon, stays in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force, stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. Equal and opposite reactions. Newton's laws are at their, Newton and Kepler's laws are at their purest up there. So, we're trying to get into orbit, okay? Anything that's not a full orbit is what's called a suborbital trajectory. If we're suborbital, that means we're not going fast enough to fall around the planet, and the Kerbin, in this case, will pull us back down. Named after Grand Imahara, yes. I designed this rocket right after he passed away. It's a very simple rocket. Once again, this rocket is like analogous to Electron or Falcon 1. It's a very simple piece of equipment. About as simple as you can make. Would I like a job at MIT? Yeah, Forka, why do you ask? Yeah? I mean, the commute would suck, but yes. Sure, why not? The atmosphere and you. Around Kerbin, there's a thin layer of atmosphere. This layer is densest near the ground and thins out to nothing as you get to space. Yep. So our atmosphere has air, Kerbin has air. You have to get away from the atmosphere. That's why you have to go up. You have to go up to get above the atmosphere and then accelerate. If you try to accelerate in the atmosphere, you're going to get re-entry heating. You'll start compressing air on the front of your vehicle, and you do what happened with Artemis 2 when it was coming in for re-entry. It'll start getting really hot. If you don't have a heat shield, you're going to pay for that. Yeah, Johnny, you'll take one too. Yeah. Man, you should be at MIT or something. Nah, it's something about motors that just calms me down. Yes, Putri. And guys, once again, I'm gonna go through this stuff. I'm going to go through this stuff. If you have questions, ask. Tag at EJSA in either chat. I will answer them. So once again, the basic overview here, first stage goes up. You need to get above the atmosphere. You don't want to accelerate in the atmosphere. Second stage goes fast so you accelerate to orbital velocity. Thank you for your service. Oh, for Pete's sake. What's your favorite soup? Italian wedding. Italian wedding soup is good. It's like meatballs in like chicken noodle soup. It's good. It's, well, meatballs in noodle soup with, I mean, there's no chicken. I mean, there could be chicken. Hey, Albeer. Good to see you again after Artemis 2. So have you ever tried to build a complete ISS? I have never built an ISS. The reason why I've never built an ISS is because I built Space Station Freedom instead. I do believe I have a picture of it here somewhere. Nope, that's something else. That's also something else. Ah, yes, here we go. Stream brought me back to Kerbal. It took me 3D to finish the rendezvous tutorial. I'll get more into that in a little bit if you guys want to learn that as well. All right, Lumpy, you got to clean up for work. So yeah, I built this. I built Space Station Freedom, which is kind of similar. It's more or less the USOS side of the space station. Yeah, see, there's my shuttle with the robotic arm, etc., etc. There's me moving components. There's me completing a mission with the shuttle. There's Pathfinder, my shuttle Pathfinder docked to Space Station Freedom. How long did that take? A couple of months to get everything figured out. Albeit, when I build stuff, guys, nowadays, I mean, back in the day, and this is kind of garden variety Kerbal play, you just build something, fly it if it blows up, whatever. I do my testing on the ground. I do my testing, I do my homework. I built an entire mock-up of the space station in the editor on the ground to test my assembly procedures with the shuttle. Keep in mind, we did it in the editor. I didn't do it like actually out in the game, right? And yeah, see, this is a model of the STS-100 mission. There's the space station remote manipulator system, and there's the airlock module. See? And then yeah, my modules go through a CDR and then, or PDR, then CDR, and then we kind of check them out and we, figure out the mission ops, how we're going to put this thing together, do that all on the ground, figure all that stuff out, and then go do it. And then there's me bringing the shuttle back again. Yeah, see? That's us assembling the space station. Yeah, see, there's me attaching the truss segments together. All right, so that's another story. Like I said, you can get pretty advanced with KSP. So we got to get up above there, right? But we're not going to do it like this. We're not going to go straight up and then turn. Rockets fly on an arc. The reason why they fly on an arc, because that's very inefficient to try and make that turn. I mean, you can. There's nothing in Kerbal saying you can't do this, right? But this is generally what we want to do. We want to fly on a parabolic arc. Ideally, having our second stage shut off right when we circularize. Right? Getting back down is the exact opposite of that. You slow down a little bit and you come back down. Now, with that being said, let's get this rocket there and let's fly it. So this is Imahar. Imahar is a very basic rocket. Now, for the people that want to know about how you do this, like if you're having trouble getting into space, there's a trajectory that usually works. Here it is. So what I like to do, we fire up the engine. It has no fuel in it, so we're not going to get very far if we have no fuel in the engine. Or no fuel in the tanks. Give me one moment. The reason why it doesn't have fuel, guys, is because I build launch pads for my vehicles in Kerbal. I'm serious. It doesn't have any fuel because I would have it fueled up on the launch pad. It's easier to move the rocket around if you build reusable launch pads to transport it with no fuel. That's what most liquid fuel rockets do, right? Ain't got no gas in it. She ain't got no gas in it. I wish I'd started when you started back in the day. Oh, don't worry about it, Ricky. All right, now watch. Here's how this sucker works. Let's go. So let's turn the engine on. We are reading full fuel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, and we got a liftoff. Okay. So what I like to do is roll to flight azimuth, but we'll get more into flight azimuth in a second. And then with your rocket, just pitch it. Pitch it over just a little bit. Right. Now, Imahara doesn't have enough to get to the moon. What's that? It's the gas generator exhaust, if you really want to know. That is a byproduct. It's like an exhaust pipe for the rocket engine. Some rocket engines have exhaust pipes, other ones don't. Life like boxed chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get. That's right. So, fly straight up here. Like, once again, the optimal trajectory, guys, is to tilt your rocket a little bit at liftoff, right? Tilt it a little bit at liftoff, and then wait till you get to about 10,000 meters. And then from 10,000 meters to about 25,000 meters, slowly pitch the rocket over from like 85 degrees, almost 90 degrees up to about 45 degrees up. So we passed 10. I'm going to start to pitch the vehicle over. And we are going to fly. If we go into our map view, we're going to fly on that arc. See, now you can see our trajectory is still suborbital. All right, so we're running out of fuel in our first stage. The reason why rocket stage is... Now, a little bit on staging here. Told you that rockets have different stages. They can break into pieces. Why do you do that? You do that because it's more efficient dumping what you don't need. You dump empty fuel tanks, you dump engines that you don't need. Remember, first stages are designed to get you up there, all right? Once you're up there, you don't need any of the parts that you need to get you up there anymore, so you jettison them. That's why rockets use staging. It's a way to kind of beat efficiency. So like, say you're in a car, right? And you have 2 seats in your car, right? And because you're driving somebody somewhere, right? 2 seats in your car, you're driving somebody somewhere. You get to your destination, you drop them off. Do you need that second seat anymore? No. If you wanted to be more efficient, the person would get out and you'd take the seat and you'd throw it out of the car because you don't need it anymore. That's dead weight. We don't need that. Now, keep in mind, with spaceships, it's not weight, it's mass. The reason why it's mass is because we're flying up to where there's no gravity. All gravity is an accelerated force on a mass. That's what weight is. When you go to step on a scale, all right, you step on the scale, and if you're like me, it says a number that you really don't like, right? And you step on that scale. All that scale is measuring is how much force you are pushing down on that scale, because gravity is pushing you down into it. That's all it's doing. That's what weight is. Now, because rockets fly in places where there's microgravity, so there's no weight, right? Because you're constantly falling. Mass is the name of the game. So I say we're shedding weight because that's what people understand, but it's not weight, it's mass. Got to get rid of the mass. That's important. All right, so our first stage, if we look at our fuel tank over there, it's almost out. So we're going to jettison it when it runs out of fuel. And we're going to light the second stage. Because remember, first stage is supposed to get you up there, okay? The second stage is supposed to get you going fast. All right, stand by for engine cutoff. All right, we have separation, upper stage ignition. There we go. We don't need that first stage anymore. So now, the second stage is designed to make you go fast. Now, what's still attached to our second stage here? We still have our payload fairing, or PLF for short. The payload fairing is there to make sure that the payload inside is aerodynamically shielded. Satellites are not very aerodynamic because where they operate, they don't need to be aerodynamic because where they operate, there's no air, there's no atmosphere. Satellites can just be a cube. Cubes aren't the most aerodynamic thing around, so what rockets do is they carry them either inside of a payload bay, like the shuttle, which is a reusable payload fairing, or inside of an aerodynamic shell. Now, that doesn't mean that rockets don't reuse fairings. Falcon 9 does reuse its fairings. You can't really reuse them in KSP just because when KSP was invented, reusing fairings was a crazy idea, so they didn't build that functionality into the game. But for us, we have an expendable fairing. And for us, if you look at our atmospheric indicator here, our pressure indicator, it's almost up to where we don't need it anymore. So what the next thing I'm going to do here is jettison the fairing. Why? Because we're in a place where there's no air. We don't need an aerodynamic fairing where there's no air. So, bye-bye. Don't need that no more. So now that we're up in the air, what we need to do is go fast. So we're going to point this thing at the horizon and we're going to burn. Now, in Kerbal, orbital velocity is about 2,300 meters a second. You can see that we are not close to that right now. We got to keep going fast. We got to keep speeding up. But since there's no air up here, you don't need a lot of thrust from your second stage engine. My first stage engine makes double the thrust of the second stage engine in this design. That doesn't mean you can't have high thrust upper stages, but generally you don't really need it. But it depends on what the rocket's doing. Now in Kerbal, the Kerman line, the place where you're above the atmosphere, is above 70 kilometers. Kerbin's a little bit smaller than Earth. On Earth, it would be 100, right? But once you're above 70, there's no atmosphere up here. You're good to go. So if you look, our trajectory, right? Take a look. It's getting more circular and more circular and more circular as we go. Let me throttle this down here. See? See, it's almost around the entire planet. Almost. What the heck's going on with that? Don't worry about it. Whatever. So, when we get to the point where our AP, our high point and our low point are more or less equal to each other, there we go. We could shut our engine off. And now we are in space. There's a mosquito. Boom! Get wrecked, dude. Sorry, I work in a garage, so there's bugs around from time to time. Sorry, I didn't mean to clap into the mic. I just got that mosquito real good.
Discovery,
dude.
go at throttle up.
Just got that mosquito real good, man. All right. Anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to clap right into the mic. I apologize. Dude, I was like the Karate Kid. Just one, you know? All right. So, we're up on orbit. You know the saying, if you're a mosquito and you come near me, you're going to get clapped. All right, anyway. So, now we're up on orbit. Great. Now we're free to basically go wherever we want. Now, the funny thing is because I gave and I may have done this on purpose, right? I gave this thing a little bit more fuel than what was needed. There's reasons for this, but there you go. Pretty cool. That's it. That's getting up into space. Once you're up on orbit, Kerbal, Earth, wherever, doesn't matter. You're halfway to anywhere. It doesn't take nearly as much speed to get to the moon, or to get to Minmus, or to get to asteroids in the game. There are asteroids, and you can find them. You just have to get the cameras to find them. Now, the Kerbal system here has a sun and an Earth-like planet. Kerbal is the Earth-like planet. The moon is like our moon. Minmus, like I said, is a captured comet, so it's not like anything that's near us. It's more like Phobos or Deimos, if anything. But Phobos and Deimos aren't captured comets around Mars. But let me introduce you to the Kerbal system in general. So, you have Moho. Moho is like Mercury. Eve is like Venus, but not green. It's blue. Whatever. You have Kerbin, which is like Earth, and then you have Duna. Duna is Mars, or a Mars analog. These aren't the exact sizes and orbits that their real life counterparts are in, but yeah, you get the idea. Then you have Dres. Dres is more like Ceres, if anything. It's more of a dwarf planet, but in this system, whatever. And then you have Jool. Jool is a outer rim gas giant that may look like a planet you might know that's in our solar system. Jool is very obviously a copy of Jupiter. And just like Jupiter, it has a bunch of different moons that you can go to. You have Bop, you have Pol, you have Tylo, you have Lathe, you have Vol. And I think that's all of them. And you can go to these places, guys. You can go and you can land. I mean, you're not going to land on Jool. You'll die because it's a gas giant. You're not landing on that. But you can go to Lathe. Lathe is an entire explorable planet in this game. You can go there with no loading screen. You can just fly. If you have a rocket that's good enough, you can just fly to it. Lathe has oceans. That's kind of like Titan. But the cool thing about Lathe is in the Kerbal system is that it has an oxygen atmosphere, so you could take jet engines out there if you really want to, and you could fly planes around if you can get them there, right? Now, beyond that, you have Eeloo. Eeloo is basically at the edge of the Kerbal system, and it's definitely a copy of Pluto. But that's cool. You can go there. Now, like I said, you can go there. You can explore the entire solar system. In Kerbal, like you can go to any of these places. You just have to figure out how to go there. You can go to asteroids. You can land on them. You can redirect asteroids in this game to circularize them around Kerbal. You can mine asteroids for fuel. You could build bases on them if you really want to. Yeah, you're in 0G, so building a base gets to be a little complicated. Is Kerbal Interstellar? There are mods that give you another solar system, but this is what's in the stock game. Like we're up on orbit. If I took off from an airplane, like see this peninsula right there? We call that the Kerbrian Peninsula because it looks like the Korean Peninsula, but on Kerbal. If we flew across the bay here to the Kerbrian Peninsula via aircraft, that would take like 45 minutes. But we're in a rocket. Rockets go way faster. It doesn't take nearly as long. Everything that you've listed, is this vanilla or do you need mods for this? I have visual mods, guys. So the stars in the background and stuff is a little bit of a nice visualizer. But if you type !KSP1 mods into Twitch chat, it'll tell you everything that I use. It's in terms of stock, like parts, like what the vehicle is made out of. Yes, it's all stock parts. I just have a slightly nicer looking version of Kerbal. That's all. And that's the thing to understand with Kerbal. The mods are most of them are free. Some of them are like pay to support the person that's making them, but a lot of them are free. Kerbal has a very, very healthy modding community that keeps the game alive. Do you have a series starting a career from scratch? So Run All Day, I don't, but so I have a business trip a little bit later, so I have to get on a plane tomorrow. I'm thinking we might need to do a career mode from scratch. Maybe bring back mission mode or something from scratch and go from there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's the gist of getting to orbit. Now, please upload to YouTube. I'm streaming. I'm double streaming on YouTube right now, dude. So all this goes onto the EJSA channel. Yeah, in Kerbal you have docking ports, you can build space stations, you can build space stations at asteroids, you can build bases, you can build landers, you can build rockets, you can build planes, you can build whatever the heck you want. I build cranes, and I build launch pads for vehicles out of stock parts. Oh yeah. Are you gonna play 2? No, 2 is a steaming pile of crap. Don't buy it, Erno, and no, I'm never playing it, ever. KSP2 is abandonware. It's not feature complete, and the studio that was making it got shuttered. We don't talk about it here. Of course I did, Zyzep. Yeah, I'm serious. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Look at the Steam reviews if you don't believe me. Hey, Pace. What's up, Guy-J? Oh, hello. Today is your first day back to work since October. Oh, I'm happy that you are working and functional, my friend. You need to exercise your glutes. I mean, you can do that style of KSP from your laptop, right? If I have more time, King, yeah, maybe. I might do some space news, but we'll see. Would you ever do a playthrough of the RP1 mod? I don't know. Prime Bald Eagle. People keep asking. I get asked to do that pretty much every time I play KSP. I don't know. Maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. No guarantees, though. Have you tried Juno New Origins? Yeah, Juno is cool, but I don't really... It's not KSP, dude. I don't know. Juno seems like you're playing a like you put something together and then it's just like, okay, there we go. It launched into space. Kerbal is more fun at Kerbal, I think, is better at teaching people the dynamics in aerodynamics, I guess, right? Like, that's much more important to understand. I don't like playing Juno on stream. It's not that it's a bad game. It's just it's not that good of a teaching tool, in my opinion. It doesn't have the soul that KSP does. Yeah, exactly. So, there you go. We got our upper stage and we got our payload up into space. Pretty cool, right? So if you're wondering how to get something up there, that's how you do it. Hey, Christian, what's going on? Welcome back from the weekend. Thank you. Thank you. I actually know the people that made our RP1. I'm pretty good friends with them, actually. Yeah. Artemis went how close to the moon? So that's the thing here. Let's revert. So let's start over and let me show you something. So that's the basics. Let me show you what more advanced gameplay looks like, okay? How about this? Now, you don't have to build small rockets in Kerbal. You can build big rockets. We like big rockets. Is this Artemis? Kind of. This is more like Direct, which was a competitor to SLS. The reason why is I don't have 5-segment solids in Kerbal. We could fudge it, right? But I wanted to build a heavy lift launch vehicle with the shuttle hardware, so I did. Yeah, instead of trying to make the SRBs bigger, I just used the SRBs that we had and kind of went from there. Now, this does have an Orion analog up there. So, you guys want to see what Artemis 2 did? I will show you. Let's put this out there and fly it. Let me show you. People want to understand what a free return trajectory is. So I have this SLS analogous rocket. It's not exactly like SLS, and that's the beauty of Kerbal. You don't have to build real-life counterparts. You can modify it for however you want. This is, like I said, this is more Direct than anything. Direct was a competitor. Direct was a competitor to SLS, and SLS ended up getting the contract. So Direct, that's a Saturn V. Okay, so NASA Direct rocket. This was a competitor to it. It's called the Jupiter rocket. So Jupiter or Direct. What this thing is designed to do is, it's for the most part Space Shuttle SRBs and a Space Shuttle external tank. If the external tank obviously doesn't have a point, they made the external tank a cylinder instead of pointed like the shuttle. And then you have a very simple payload fairing and you have Orion on top of it. That's it. You could put maybe better upper stages there at some point or something else. And then Direct had a configurable amount of engines. I didn't like that engine section. I think SLS's engine section looks better, so I didn't go with that. Hey, Garand. Haven't played KSP since 2019, and Artemis 2 made me go back to it. I think many people did the same. Oh, yeah. I saw it, Garand. Throughout the mission, I saw Kerbal's numbers daily just tick up and up and up and up. Right? So, compare that to SLS, right? SLS uses 5-segment boosters. It has a shuttle booster plus 1. So when I say segments, what do I mean? These SRBs are actually made in pieces. They're segmented, meaning you fit them together kind of like a puzzle. The shuttle had 4-segment SRBs. SLS has 5-segment SRBs. The reason why it has 5-segment SRBs is because you need a lot of kick to get stuff out near the moon. You need a big rocket to get out there. Yeah, see, the shuttle used 4 segments. SLS uses 5 segments. What they didn't tell you about this is that you need to redesign the entire core stage because you can no longer use a modified external tank to do that, and that's part of the reason why SLS took so long. But we don't harp on the big orange, dude. That's a good rocket, and I'm not going to pretend like it isn't. The 2 flights that we've seen from it were fantastic. SLS just needs a little more kick in the upper stage. But this whole thing down here, excellent. It works great. I mean, we saw it during the Artemis 2 mission. She is a monster. That is a beautiful freaking vehicle. It's perfect. If we give that upper stage a little more kick, then this thing can really go places. Right now, it's using one of those for its upper stage, which is a little bit on the smaller side. But the reason why they did that, the reason why they use this is because this is an old Delta IV upper stage. That's what the ICPS is. Now, if you remember the Artemis 2 mission on flight day 2, they undocked the capsule, and Victor turned the capsule around and went towards the stage, backed up, turned, went back towards the stage, backed up, etc., etc. I don't necessarily have the ICPS on top of this. I do have another stage up there. That is closer to what a Centaur would look like, but you get the idea. So, we have Jeb, Bill, and Bob on board, right? They're in the capsule. Our Orion analog, I call it the Taurus capsule. Runtus, thanks for the Artemis coverage last week. I loved it. I have a question. Can you do skip re-entries in Kerbal? Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, that's doable. You have to weigh the capsule correctly, right? But it's doable. My Taurus capsule can do that, but not to the extent that Integrity does it in real life. But I can show you. We can use the Taurus capsule to show you how this works. All right, so let's do this. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we got a liftoff. We might have a little bit of a problem here. That's all right. No, we're good. We're all right. One of the SRB aft attachment struts was not playing nice there, but it's okay now. I fixed it mid-flight. Don't ask. This will work. It was not supposed to wobble like that. Yeah. For the Kerbal players, I didn't have SVI enabled, but we're good now. It's working just fine. Full send. Exactly. We have the abort capability on tap if we need to. My last does work just like the real one does. Have you not flown this rocket before? No, it's just been a while, dude. I flew this rocket last probably about a month ago. Throttling down for separation. Thrust tailing off on my SRBs. Should be good for separation in a moment here. Ah! That's Kerbal, dude. Yeah, that wobbly SRB came back to bite me, dude, but it's all right. We still have some engines pushing us. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. This is Kerbal, man. This is what happens. Now figure it out. That probably would have been constitution for an abort, but we're fine. We have 4 engines. SLS has 4 engines. It's good. Don't worry about it. It's fine. What could go wrong? This rocket reminds you a lot of Ares 5. So, Evan, it's kind of like an amalgam of SLS Direct and Ares 5 all kind of rolled into one, dude. Yeah, SLS has 4 engines. We have 4 engines. It's good. Don't worry about it. Actually, it'd probably be better to just shut that motor off. Okay. Ready? That wasn't good. Please hold. Something exploded up there, and I don't know what did it. Yeah, let's try 9. Let's just push buttons. Yeah! Cool. This mission was screwed anyway, so... yeah, that's the launch abort. Alright, cool. Got that one figured out. Gotta remember how to fly my own damn vehicles. Hello! Yeah, it did that automatically, by the way. If you want to know what the last does, that's what it does. Pretty cool, huh? See, the real one didn't do that. Mine does, though. But, no, like... yeah, we're on a high altitude abort right now. This is why abort would get very, very, feisty here. But I guess we're showing re-entry capability before anything here. Alright. Here we go. So we got to go into re-entry protocol here. So we're going to do that. We got to do that. We got to enable that. And then we need our yaw thrusters there to be able to reorient the capsule. Got to put that heat shield first. So, guys, I'll admit, I usually don't screw around this much when I play Kerbal. I'm just showing you, like, it's not like a guaranteed science in KSP. Like, sometimes if you don't hit the right thing at the right time, your rocket will shoot the top off, right? That happens. I'm usually much more involved in the checklists for launch, so this doesn't happen, but it is kind of a good example to show, like, Kerbal isn't an exact thing. Stuff can blow up. So you have to put, like, a safety system in, like the launch abort system. Yeah, I saw it, Jax. I saw the staging. Yeah, your staging was messed up. I am aware of this. That's why I just looked at the AGs, found the launch abort, and just kind of went. We blew up our second stage engine. I think my third stage ignited. I'm pretty sure my third stage ignited mid, like, liftoff here. So there's the heat shield. Heat shield is doing what
Go at throttle up.
Integrities is doing. Hey Prime, been around your stream for more than a decade. Glad to see the stream is popping off after Artemis and that you're still inspiring the next generation like you did for you. Keep up the amazing fun. Sure. Thanks, man. Thanks for the 2-month resub. Hi, I'm new. A new guy, French guy on your stream. Love space. It's so good. It's appreciated. Sorry my English is bad. No problem. You're good. Yeah, the ablator's gonna do some work here, but no, my friend. Yeah, I speak bad English too, so we're good. Now, my Orion capsule isn't exactly like the real one. I kind of want to make it like the real one with the rings and everything, but I just have drogues and mains, and that's about it. Yeah, just a high-level overview, Future, and you can dial this in depending on your rocket. You kind of lift off, you turn to about 85 degrees. Like if 90 is pointed straight up, you turn to about 85 degrees until you get to 10K. At 10K, you lean over to, so by the time you get to 25K, you're at 45 degrees. And then just watch your high point in your orbit and watch the low point in your orbit and then just go. We're coming down on land, but that's okay. PJ, isn't your SLS a bit overpowered for the moon? No. No, it's not. Also, can they use J2Xs? Who's they? Who's they? What's a lesser-known interesting fact from the Artemis 2 mission that isn't mentioned in public as much? This was Jeremy Hansen's first mission. First time being in space. Okay, just gotta reef those chutes. Come on. Thank you. Ground's coming up real quick. There we go. Yeah, my capsule only has 2 chutes, Tony. That's all it needs. This is not an exact of Orion. It's close. Now, once again, there's mods out there, dude. You can go find mods for an Orion capsule. There's or any rocket that you want. You can get Kerbalized versions of them. Yeah, just like Orion, the Orion thrusters were doing this to reorient the capsule for the water. They were doing that. We saw them do it. Boink. There we go. Jeb lives to fly another day. All right. Are there bears in those woods? No bears on Kerbin. All right, so let's redo this and let's do this right. So I had my booster separation working. The separators work. We just have to make sure that I hit the right action groups and the right keys at the right time. What the heck is jettison the abort system? Where's that? Oh, that's the action group for it. All right, I'll be a little more careful this time. Let's try it again. What the heck is an aluminum falcon? Is KSP2 better than 1? No. KSP2 got abandoned mid-development and the studio was shuttered. Do not buy it. Play KSP1. KSP1 has has modding support. It's feature complete and it has modding support. It's a much better game. Do not buy KSP2. I'm not even kidding. Don't do that. There we go. Let's try this again. All right. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. No wobble this time. We got a liftoff. Jet, Bill, and Bob doing a close flyby of the moon. Re-return flyby of the moon. Okay, vehicles done the roll program. Yeah, baby. Dude, we should make an SLS. We should make SLS. Guys, I can fudge these boosters. We can make them look like 5 segments. And then I'm thinking shoehorn a Pollux booster in there to give it the extra kick that it needs to make the burn time. Yeah, we could make an SLS. I just have to fudge this. We have to play around with this a little bit. But we could absolutely do it. Throttling back for max Q. We have maximum dynamic pressure. Vehicle is supersonic. The reason why I didn't go and build an SLS in Orion is because I don't have time. I didn't have the time to do it. It takes a little bit of time if you're going to build a complicated vehicle in KSP. SLS is a complicated vehicle. Yeah, there is maximum dynamic pressure. Yep, there's max Q, and it does screw up your vehicle if you're not careful. All right, let's see if our separation system works better this time. Thrust tailing off on SRBs. We got about 10 seconds to separation. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Woohoo! Now that's what it's supposed to do. All right, now what's the next AG here? The next AG is activating the service module. That's not what we want. We need launch abort system jettison.
Discovery.
Don Waldy! Truly amazing set of streams last week. Learned so much still. Watched every minute until until splashdown. Also introduced one of my little ones to everything space. Yes! Space is awesome. Okay, so let's go for the last jettison. Ready? Work. Please don't explode in my face. There we go. Last jettison confirmed. All right, shroud. Shroud jettison confirmed. Let's do this. Now we have our Orion-esque capsule there. And our core stage is burning like crazy. Alright, I gotta pitch up just a little bit. Stand by for Miko. Confirmed. Okay. Next up is stage separation. Got a good separation on our Centaur 5-esque thing here. Upper stage ignition. Okay, we gotta stop. We gotta get around here so we can boost the perigee. I wanted to make sure that the core stage, my core stage here, stayed in a suborbital trajectory, and it's suborbital. It'll come back down. Okay. So once again, this isn't exactly the ICPS that was used during the Artemis II mission, but it's close enough. Okay, we can coast a little bit. Okay, we'll do a perigee raising burn here. The ideal place, so if you look, guys, we're not suborbital, but we're almost suborbital. My PE, the periapsis, is very low. It's only 37 kilometers. If we keep flying, if we get flying on this trajectory, we'd re-enter the atmosphere. Don't want that. We're not suborbital, but we're pretty suborbital. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to do a burn here, right at my high point. If you want to raise the low point in your orbit, you have to burn at the high point. If you burn in the direction that you're going at the high point. So if you burn what's called prograde, if you burn prograde at apoapsis, you're going to raise your periapsis. If you burn retrograde, so against the way that you're going at AP, you're going to lower your periapsis. We don't want that. If we lower it, we're going to come back down. We don't want to do that. We're trying to go to the moon, right? So when we get up to our apoapsis, I'm going to fire my engines. We're firing our engines in the direction that we're going. So we're going to raise. We fire these suckers. Ready? Watch. There we go. The engines are on. See? And see, the PE is going up. We want to get that to equal to where we are. Now, this isn't exactly what Artemis II did, but we'll figure it out. Get what we want there with Artemis II in a moment. Let me just get into a stable orbit so I can talk to you guys and tell you what's up. So 101 by 104. That's perfect. We're fine. This is good enough. Okay. Now, the moon's over there. Artemis II did not do this. It didn't go directly to the moon. It didn't perform its TLI burn instantly. The upper stage put it into a different orbit, a different type of orbit here. Now, this is going to take some planning to do, so this might be a little bit out of the, not out of the scope of like a Kerbal, like a newer Kerbal player, but I'm going to try to replicate it as best as I can. So they went into high Earth orbit, which is an orbit that looks like that dotted line. In Kerbal, you make maneuver nodes and you could tell it, you could set where you want to go from there. Now, what I need to do is I need to here dial in the delta V that we need for a lunar rendezvous. There it is. And we need to do a far side pass of the moon. That's it. Oh, hold up. Let me back it up. There we go. There's our free return. That is, for the most part, the trajectory that Artemis 2 flew. Okay. Now I know that that's going to line up. That's going to work. All right, cool. So you can just dump that real quick. All right. Part of this is making sure that you're in the right place to lead the shot. If you're trying to go out to that moon, you got to be able to lead it. It's not about trying to look at it and burn towards it, okay? Like, you don't want to go there in a straight line. You have to, unless you have the fuel to do it, in which case, go ahead. But this isn't Star Wars. It's more realistic orbital mechanics here. Hey, Nader, what's going on? All right, so I'm going to do what Artemis 2 did. Artemis 2 went into a high eccentric, high Earth orbit trajectory. It did something like this, okay? So we're gonna just time warp a little bit. We're gonna coast for a second, just like they did. And we're gonna fire our upper stage here. When we're at the most opportune time. It's about a 600 meters a second delta V burn. All right, cool. If you're gonna do Artemis 2, you have to do the, okay. So the cool thing is, right, is, here, hold up. There we go. The cool thing is, dudes, is that you have to get signal in Kerbal. Now, I don't have that difficulty setting enabled on this save because I use this save for testing. But if you want to build out a deep space network on Kerbin, you can do that. No, it doesn't make a tone like the real one does. My other save that we were just messing around with does, though. Now, at this point on the real one, Orion would have deployed its saws by now, but that's just... bear with me here. Now, this is the apogee raise burn that they did on flight day 2. This is the one where they split the sleep schedule. Or no, that was the perigee raise burn. So ARB would have been before the first sleep schedule. This would have been flight day 1. Now, as you can see, Kerbin, just like Earth, it takes a second to break the grav well. You gotta really start accelerating. Remember, the name of the game with spacecraft is not how far you can go in terms of distance. How far you can go on a spacecraft is measured in how fast you can go. Okay? That's important to understand. How fast you can go. It's not about the distances with spaceflight. It's the case in Kerbal, it's the case in real life. It's about how much you can change your velocity. Spacecraft range is measured in acceleration. It's measured in change in meters a second, or change in feet per second, depending on what measuring system you use. Kerbal uses metric. I'm fine with using metric. I can use either. I don't care about what you think about what's a better measuring system. Be quiet. Okay? Yeah, cool. Fun. We're having fun. So, if you look, all of our maneuvering nodes are measured in meters a second, right? Metric rules. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the spacecraft that just went out to the moon was using feet per second, Flavia. So, you know. Yeah, you guys could use metric for whatever you do. We'll use feet per second to get to the moon. Okie dokie? Lunar units, baby. All right, so we're in our high Kerbal orbit here. Now what we got to do is extend the solar panels. I don't absolutely have something that's like Orion with this, but it's something that's close.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Can you land on the moon? Oh, you can land on the moon. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually really difficult. You ever played a Lunar Lander? Atari Lunar Lander? It's kind of like that. So, while Artemis 2 was in this high orbit, what they did was they executed the Rendezvous Proximity Operations Demonstration, RPOD, or they were calling it RPOD. So here, let me show you what Victor did with that pod, all right? So let's shut down the engines on the stage, disarm them. All right, so now we're going to separate the pod. Now, what's going on with this? There we go. Just pretend that part didn't happen, okay? Okay, so what they did with the Artemis 2 capsule was something like this. So let's go this way. So they went and they pulled away from the capsule like this. And what Victor did was test how well the capsule, with the RHC, test how well the capsule moved. Test how well the capsule moved relative to the stage. So they went up like this. Okay, so now what they did was this. They turned Orion around. I heard you could only build Artemis 1 in KSP. If you wanted to build Artemis 2, you need to purchase the vastly superior KSP 2. I don't know who told you that. They were lying to you. Don't listen to them. It's the sound. That's not true. You could build whatever the heck you want in KSP 1, especially with mods. I'm doing more or less the Artemis 2 mission right now. All right, so this is what Victor did here with the capsule. They didn't redock to the upper stage, but they did something like this. Ready? Whoop. They turned around, and with Orion, they got close. Close enough to simulate the type of proximity operations that you'd need for docking, like this. And what Victor did is slowly went up to this thing and kind of sat there and did what's called station keeping with it. See, it doesn't look like us in the upper stage are moving very fast. We're certainly not moving very fast relative to each other. Relative is less than a centimeter a second. Right? We're basically flying in formation. We're not connected, but we're both hurling up into a high Earth orbit right now. How fast can you dock? Depends on what it is. Xi'an, pretty well. So then what they did with the upper stage was something like this. They rotated the upper stage with the capsule next to it, which is a ballsy thing to do. This is why the RPOD was one of my favorite parts of the entire mission. Then, with the turned upper stage, they went towards it like this. And then there was a target port on the side that Victor took that capsule right up next to. Like this. Right? And they used it to calibrate Orion's thruster system. Like that. Once again, in space flight, this is called station keeping. It's flying in formation with something. Station keeping like this is used a lot in rendezvous proximity operations and docking, so RPOD. Now, this one on Artemis 2 was a rendezvous proximity operations demonstration, so there was no redocking. This Orion, the Orion that flew, Integrity, did not have a docking port on the front. So, take that for what it's worth. But that's what Victor did. That's what they did. Now, what they did after that was backed away. They rotated the stage, Nader. Yeah, I figured that out later. They said that in a press conference that they rotated. They rotated the stage and not the capsule. Mind the monoprop. What's wrong with it? Yeah, there was some coupling, exactly. And when I switched to a 4K monitor, so these numbers are telling rates for the nerds. You could show it shows your rotational rates in yaw, pitch, and roll over there. And that's actually like superbly helpful when you're dialing in a craft. That's why I knew what Victor was doing, because I did this exact test with this capsule. Only I docked to something. I think I docked to a target vehicle, but they were testing out for docking with a lander, not the LEM, but yes, Terminator, they were testing out docking with a lander. That was the idea. Yeah, they did rotate that stage. They said that. I thought they moved the capsule relative. No, they fired the stage thrusters and turned the stage, and then he went in and targeted the side port, which is, that's a ballsy move. That's dangerous. The stage that's full of fuel. It's dangerous. Now, at this phase in the mission, the crew slept. If I'm time warping right now, But yeah, the crew slept and they backed away from the stage. This is the 4.5-hour sleeping period that was on flight day 1. And then when they were up here, they did what's called a perigee raise burn to get them in the right phase to go to the moon. So I'm going to dial in what's in Kerbal, you have something called a maneuver node. And the maneuver node tells you when and where you should burn. Now, during their perigee raise burn, this is what they did. They performed a translunar injection burn, or TLI. That's what this is. But they did it in such a way that they used the moon's gravity. Here, let's target the moon. I'll show you. So, watch. So we want to burn, and we want to go fast enough to be able to get near the moon. Now, if you fly this way around the moon, this is a prograde insertion around the moon. Basically, you're going with the direction that the moon orbits. The moon in KSP-1, the moon in KSP is tidally locked, but it's not an exact copy of our moon. It has its own geological features, etc., etc. So the far side is over here. Right now, the far side is illuminated just because of where it is. It's probably not going to be illuminated when we get out there, but whatever. So this right here, we can use the moon's gravity to slingshot to a higher orbit if we really wanted to. But that's not what Artemis 2 did. Artemis 2 went in retrograde. They went in going in the opposite direction. The idea there was to use the moon's gravitational pull to put you back on a return trajectory around Kerbin. The patch conics don't show up very well, I know. So, this, if we back out, you can see them a lot better. That's the return trajectory that we're trying to do. But if we keep going, change the phase. If we keep going, we can use the moon's gravity to push us back. We're ejecting off the far side of the moon to get us to come back here. And in order to do this right, you got to do a far pass on the moon. Hang on. There we go. That's good enough. So the crew would be in their first sleeping period right now. And then what would have happened around here is the upper stage would have done a disposal burn. Yeah, Hibbit, I don't know what orbital mechanics you're thinking about, but it's not the right kind. All right, so check this out. Ready? We're going to dispose of the second stage here by just burning its thrusters there to put it on a re-entry trajectory. So see, that trajectory is suborbital now, and now that thing's going to burn up with the modifications that we just made. So, Bon Voyage stage, we don't need you anymore. Let's go back over to Orion. So now the crew would have done a raise burn here, but we don't need to do that. We can go right for TLI, and that's what we have dialed in. So Wish me luck. I have a rocket launch, a docking mission, 2 separate moon landings, and more lined up in game, of course. You put on your plate what you think you can put on your plate, dude. Hokey, the demo was amazing, dude. That was one of my favorite parts of that entire mission. I mean, let's be real. All of it was the thing. You had said it was a perigee raise maneuver and then placed the node at perigee. No, I said it was a perigee. No, apogee raise. I corrected myself. I don't think you guys... maybe the mic didn't pick it up or something. Yeah, that was not the intention. But yeah, no. All right, so this would have been the second sleeping period on flight day 1. And then we would have entered flight day 2 over here. So we're not going to do that whole mission because if we did it in real time, it would take 1 hour and 11 minutes. We're not doing that. What we are going to do is time warp. You can time warp in KSP so you don't have to. There's the stage. Stage is going to burn up if you watch. Now that we're doing the close pass, capsule's lined up in the right position. We're gonna fire our service propulsion system here. It's a 38-second burn, and we are gonna shoot the moon just like they did. Hey, Sea Kraken, ready? Now, if you notice, look. Burning at our perigee, burning prograde at perigee raises apogee. You see our orbit's going higher. Our orbit is getting more and more eccentric. We're trying to put it in a point where, at our high point, we're going to get near the moon. And eventually, you'll get what's called an intercept, just like the maneuver node is showing. Wait for it. There we go. We got an intercept. Now we got to get the intercept on the backside of the moon. Over here. Just like that. So we just got to accelerate a little bit more. Now we shut the maneuver off and we see how close we were. Just got to go a little bit more. There we go. So now, TLI is good. Now, for the actual Artemis mission, they would have done a coast out to the moon. This was flight day 3, 4, and 5, where they did the suit test. They did all kinds of different testing here. But if you watch, we're going to time warp through it. Hey, Ethau. Welcome to Mission Control. You go at throttle up. The toilet on this is working just fine. Yeah, it's in that hatch over there. See, mine's working just fine. Wait a minute. Ready? Hold on. Shut those for a second. Wait for it.
Integrity Houston, toilet is powered, waste tank purged.
Yeah? Now, let's put this thing bias tail the sun, just like the actual mission. How about the bubble wrap? Dude, something is wrong with the bubble wrap audio file. It doesn't always play it. Copy. Bubble wrap nominal.
Copy.
Bubble, but yeah, it doesn't. Something's weird. Something weird is going on with that. You know what? You know what we can do? Let's open that not with Windows Media Player. Let's try VLC. Let's see if VLC wants to do it. Because VLC is goated.
Copy. Bubble wrap nominal.
There you go. Bubble wrap is nominal. Yeah, VLC where Windows Media Player sucks. All right, so we'll put the capsule bias tail to sun. Once again, this is kind of an analog for Orion. I kind of want to do another detail pass on this to get it more like Orion. But, yeah, we'll, Outlook works in my... Well, no, Outlook doesn't work, Geese, and it doesn't work up here because my Kerbals don't use Outlook because using Microsoft is Microsoft. There you go. So, watch. This is what's called a free return trajectory. This is what they did. I mean, you're gonna see it in time warp, right? So they went out towards the moon. Actually, our phasing is, where's the sun? Yeah, the sun's not in the right place, but that's okay. So see, we're getting towards that. We're getting out towards the moon. And what's going to happen is, and this is what happened on flight day 5. This was at the end of flight day 5 in the mission. You started entering the moon's SOI, or sphere of influence. The SOI is basically where the moon's gravitational pull is going to move your spacecraft more than Earth's. This blue trajectory right there is, around Kerbin, right? But if we enter the moon's trajectory, that's where the moon's gravitational pull is going to have more pull than Kerbin. So Kerbin and Earth are the same in this analogy, and moon are the same in this analogy. So all right, so take a look. We entered lunar SOI, and it's going to pull us. And it's going to spit us out. See how we did? We have a high pass, just like they did. We have a high pass towards the moon. And it's going to spit us out. The moon's basically going to orbit by. It's going to spit us out the back, and then it's going to shoot us back towards Kerbin. But this would have been flight day 6 at this point. And you can see the craters illuminated. The Terminator, like I said, the sun's in the wrong place. But the sun would have been over here for this mission, and they would have been able to see this side of the moon. We're going to see, with the sun's in the opposite place because I didn't launch at the same time on the calendar year as they did. So, yeah. We're going to get a far side pass of the moon just like they did. And this is where they went ham with the cameras. This is what we saw on flight day 6. Wasn't their trajectory shaped like a number 8? Yes. I know what the next question is. Why does this not look like that? Because it's showing localized lunar SOI. If our trajectory was overlaid, it would look like a figure 8. If our Kerbalized conic trajectory was overlaid, it would have looked like that. But there you go. Now, once again, guys, in Kerbal, you have enough delta V, you can land on that moon. You can land on it. You could build a base down there if you really want to. It's all seamless. You can get down there. You could build a lander. You can make it roll. You could build a base down there, landing pads, resource utilization. You can mine into the ground, and not like physically, but you could put a piece of mining equipment down, pull fuel from the ground, and refuel stuff down there. But this is illustrating what they saw on the backside. Once again, the sun for the Artemis 2 mission was over here. But yeah, you get the idea. How much of the next Orion is completed? Orion serial number 4 is pretty... It's not mated to its service module yet, Trick Jumper, but it's about to be, if you really want to know. Yeah, baby. So they would have seen the flip side of this because the sun was over here. The sun is in the opposite direction. But those instead of an Earthrise picture, they would have seen an Earth set. Once again, that has to do with phasing and the sun being in a different spot in my Kerbal save versus theirs, right? Can I suggest a really cool mod? No? What is the graphic mod? It's called Waterfall. Here, exclamation point, KSP1 mods. Scatter is the, yeah, scatter, waterfall, and parallax are what I use. I don't really want to use other mods. What is this? Stencil? Oh, that's kind of cool. You can click transparency on things. That's pretty neat. I'm curious about the construction of the capsule, specifically how you created the outer container and how the capsule is attached. I used fairings to make it. Know what I'm saying? It was... I think I should do a spacecraft tutorial in the future here on how to... And we'll build like a higher fidelity Orion, I think. This capsule is actually too small to be analogous to Orion, but... The spacecraft design is really what I like, but yeah, see, there's Kerbal rise. Now, once again, they would have saw the flip of this. They would have seen Kerbal illuminated off the backside of the moon, but the sun is 180 degrees out to where it needs to be. The sun should be over there. So when they did this pass of the moon here, right? This was at the end of flight day 6, right? When they got back into radio contact, the sun was over here, and the moon would have what's called transited the sun. So it would have been behind it, and that's what gave you, that's what gave us, ooh, more SLS ascent footage. You know what? Let's try to use NASA's search engine for a second. How about moon? Woof. Ding dong. Yeah, get rid of videos, get rid of audio, update our results. And let's keep it to 2026. Update the results. Where is that picture? The transit picture. It's in here. So, oh, there it is. That's one of them. So this shot is basically where I am in Kerbal, but once again, the sun would have been behind the moon in this shot. There's some, Nader. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. I don't think we have anything, Andridicus. I don't think we have that yet. But yeah, the sun is in the wrong position for this. I'd have to wait. I could replicate this perfectly with the sun on the other side, so we can illuminate the western hemisphere of the moon instead of the eastern hemisphere, but it's okay. But yeah, those eclipse pictures that they took, dude, that's, where's my favorite one? It's in here somewhere. NASA has all kinds of pictures in here. Oh, man. That one to read is cool. Bro, this freaking crew. I can't believe this whole mission happened, dude. There's one of the eclipse. Here, let's try Artemis 2 eclipse. NASA search engine. Huh. There's pictures of the heat shield. That's Artemis 2's heat shield. And guys, I'll be honest with you, that shield ablated perfectly. It did exactly what Amit said it was going to do. I am very, very happy about that. Oh, hey, come back. There's a lot of cool pictures in there, though. Yeah, that one's good enough. It's a better version of this picture. So yeah, Earth is over here, just like where we are in Kerbal, right? And then the sun would have been on the backside of the moon, and you would have been able to see Saturn, Mars, and Mercury here, and then Venus would have been over there. But once again, we're playing Kerbal. It doesn't use the real solar system, but this is the general idea. Hey, where did it, man? There we go. What you're hearing is sound from the PAO, one of the PAO events that they did. That's the life support systems on integrity. I had one of my mods. I had all systems loop the sound. Do you need the multi-hour one? Yeah. They haven't released heat shield photos yet, but so I'll show you guys in a second. So yeah, far side transit, right? Now we exited the moon's SOI, and now it hurled us out on a trajectory that's going to basically have us re-enter. We used the moon to basically do a U-turn. And how that would have looked overlaid if we had the right conics would have been a loop around the moon like that. Actually, the loop went this way, but you get the idea. But how orbital mechanics works is we'd go out on the orbit like this, loop around the moon, and now we're on the backside of that. You're a machine. I thought you would have needed at least a week to recover. Major Who, so here's the thing. I wanted to get a Kerbal stream in today, guys, because I'm going to be gone for the rest of the week, partially to recoup, but mostly to host the, we're doing a little bit of a virtual field trip this week. I am going to Textron Aviation's airfield in Kansas to host the AIAA 30th Annual Build, Design, and Fly Collegiate Competition. Yeah. It is a competition where college kids build RC airplanes and compete in a competition to see who can make the best RC airplane for whatever the task is. So, guys, I only had one day this week to play KSP, and I wanted to do some tutorials with you guys. Is that going to be streamed? Yes, it's going to be streamed here. I actually, when we were talking in contractual stuff, they were actually like, I'm like, hey, can I double stream it? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that'll be streamed here on the Twitch channel, and on YouTube it'll be on NSF. So yeah, that I gotta get actually on a plane tomorrow. And I gotta go start getting set up for that event. It's next weekend. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do this week. So that's basically gonna be my break. And then when I get back on Monday, next Monday, so the 20th. And when I get back, we're just gonna belt into playing KSP more. Why no mods that allow for near future tech or add interstellar travel? Because I use this to teach people, and that's really not a good way to do that, friend Kim. Your school is sending a team generic name? Are you going to stream it? Yeah, dudes. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm only here. I only have today to kind of jump in and play Kerbal, and what I want to do is switch over to kind of space news, and we could talk about the Artemis 2 mission as well. I wanted to get some of these kind of very, very small tutorials in for Kerbal, and then people said, a lot of people were asking me to refly the Artemis 2 mission in KSP. Well, here you go. Yeah, so that's the AIAA Design, Build, and Fly event. I'm going to be hosting that. Yeah, and the other thing is that, so during the off days from the competition, I'll jump in here and we'll talk about space news. And if I stretch goal would be to cover rocket launches because I want to see New Glenn fly again. But yeah, we're now exiting lunar SOI here in KSP, and we are heading back towards Earth. So this would have been flight day 7, day 8, and day 9. When is New Glenn? Tentatively the 17th. I don't know if it's going to work here, but I don't know if it's going to fly. We'll see. They did put the rocket up. I mean, it's tentatively set for the 17th. AIAA, yeah. The AIAA is the American Institute of Aeronautical and the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronomics. Yeah, it's like Spaceport America Cup, if you guys remember that. All right, so here we go. So now, once again, a lot of people were wondering why why they were accelerating towards Earth. And like, even though we were 1 day away from entry, why they were so far away. Well, here, take a look. If you look at it fast forwarded, right, we're not moving very quickly until we get down around here when Kerbin really starts to pull us back in. If you notice, we're accelerating, but it's constant acceleration, right? Good job, Bill and Bob. I hope you guys got your suits on. Now we're going to come up on this real quick here. No, it's all relative, Tender. So because everything is being accelerated relatively at the same time, you wouldn't really feel it. They didn't feel it. Everybody on board and the capsule is all being accelerated towards Earth at the same time. Or Kerbin in this particular case. You won't feel this. What you'll feel is when you start to hit the atmosphere and decelerate. I saw on your site that you have a KSP mission pack. Can you go over what that is? Mission mode is a rule set that I use for KSP, friend Cam. It's just a way that it's a rule set that I use, a high difficulty rule set that I use to play KSP sometimes. It took me a second to think about what you were talking about. So once again, we're gonna pop back in here, and I put my craft by his tail to sun, and it's gonna pull us in. It's gonna start to pull us in real fast. Okay, here we go. All right, enable the pyro valves on our CMRCS. Cool. CMRCS is working. Have you been to Elu? I've been to every planet in this game, dude. Let's flip us to a relative position. And we are going to jettison our service module just like they did. Now, my capsule is designed to slew like the Orion is, but it's not designed to do it very much. I should probably, if we make a new capsule, I might make it slew a little bit more. But all right, here we go. Stand by for SM separation. And there we go. Got a good separation on the service module. And now we line up for re-entry. Coming up on entry interface here. can shut those off. We don't need those anymore. This would have been another cool moment for Orion to have been on board Orion for. Super fast, super low. This would have been nuts, dude. So let me shut off that. And now, here we go. Yep, service module burns up over there. You can see Kerbal is eating it. There's been some pictures from the side, Electron. I'll show you. And then, oh, that's service module. And then the heat shield is keeping our Kerbal safe. It's keeping our Kerbal safe by burning off. It's called ablation. Ablation. Oh, well, communications blackout. Sad there's no capsule with 4 crew. I'm sure somebody has a modded Orion out there somewhere. In fact, chat, who has the Orion mod? Is there one? I'm sure somebody has a parts pack that has something like Orion. The Artemis construction kit? I might go use that. So what they do, what Integrity does is roll to be able to change its trajectory like this. You can steer the capsule in. We're not doing that. I'd have to go and redo it just a little bit to make this work correctly, but this is the general idea here. Zelios, you got it? Artemis construction pack? Do we have pictures? Roughly when do you expect the Artemis 3 crew to be announced? It's gonna be in the coming months, dude. Can you show you how to install? Try Danielson, you need something called CCAN. Charlie, Kilo, Alpha, November. CKAN. With CCAN, you can, it's like a mod installer for Kerbal. Now we're coming down in the desert, but that's fine. That's okay. Don't matter. All right, so now that we're coming through, we can pop the drogue chutes. Landing will be fine. I'm really surprised you didn't get the Firefly mod. So guys, I don't know why people that have been watching the stream for a long time are asking me this. I don't like using mods. I don't like to mod the game to a point where it's unrecognizable. That's not a good way to teach people. Kerbal's already an abstract game. You are actually making it more complicated by putting all these mods in that are going to confuse people more. That's why I don't do it. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm probably not going to. Still. Drogues? I'm really surprised you haven't downloaded the RP1 mod. I've probably been asked about 30 times already today. 95. Nah, maybe not 30. It's more like 10, but you get the idea. And now, our chutes will deploy right now. There we go. Yeah, baby. I only need 2 chutes because this isn't an Orion analog. It's close. Eventually, you will try RP1 and enjoy it and have a worker's moment, but until then, no, I won't. You don't tell me how to run my stream, please. Do you drop the heat shield? Nope. This one doesn't drop the heat shield. And this capsule I've rated to land on land and water, so that's why it's okay. Normally, I would have dialed in our trajectory, so we would have gotten back to KSC. I usually try to land in the water near it, but yeah, we did this quick. Are we landing on the moon? Not with the, no, this is the desert. And Jeb, Bill, and Bob have touched down, transiting the far side of the moon. Pretty cool, huh? Why was there no steam when Orion splashed down? The heat shield isn't really designed to do that, Booth. The heat shield is very porous, so if anything, it would have been like a sponge. But yeah, there you go. That's your Artemis 2 mission in Kerbal. When I can actually get the rocket to work correctly, that's how they did it. That was the mission. Where are the aliens? The Kerbals are aliens? They're little green men? How much more alien do you want? Could Orion use steam for RCS? Why no KSP2? Okay. So in the coming weeks, like the rest of this week, I'm actually going to do the AIAA event. So we will get into more tutorials over the next couple of weeks for like docking, rendezvous, stuff like that. But yeah, for now, I think, so I play Kerbal, guys, but what I also do is, what I also wanted to do today is just kind of sit there and talk about the mission now that I've had a weekend to kind of stew on it. And yeah, just kind of take in the day or the entire mission. So that's what we're going to do now. Have you made a Starship replica? Yeah, more or less. I usually call it Space News, but I think Artemis 2, a retrospective, would be a good thing to call it today. Did you watch the conference on Saturday? Yeah, I did.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Booth, I wanted to stream it. I was just, dude, I'm still kind of out of it. My brain is still kind of like, you know, I'm putting on a brave face today. But yeah, there's a very high level overview of what you can do in KSP. You design and build your own rockets, dudes. It's a really fun game. ArtemisLive.io is at your service for that. Oh. Wow, cool. So I'm just gonna jog the VOD over on YouTube like what I usually do, and we'll get into kind of talking about Artemis 2, etc., etc. I'm sure you helped NASA build and design the rocket. And no, I did not. I'm just a spectator. I did see that, Hibbit, but we will talk about that in a second. Okay, stand by for loss of signal on YouTube as expected. Be right back. Okay, the YouTube is down. The YouTube is down. And I'm going to switch us over to the science and technology category. And we will talk about Artemis 2, a